Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello.
and the Lord of Rubik's Cubes, SDA.
Hi, guys.
And I'm your host, Scribelight, the Lord of Dr. Seuss Insanity.
I was really hoping you were going to say Lord of the Sea.
Lord of... No, I'm not Lord of the Sea! Damn it! Jordan 250 has framed me as Aquaman now. Damn it.
That made me
That's
laugh.
not what I
really
wanted.
did.
Oh, my Lord. So how are you guys tonight?
I'm okay.
I'm good.
I'm okay.
You're okay. You're good. Okay. I miss anything exciting last night?
We missed Isaac, which is, of course, exciting. It's always fun to talk to Mexicans. They're very rare, as you know. So we found one and we brought one in.
Found one.
I think
That's
Chad had a
good.
good time. Yeah, we had fun.
That's good. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Appreciate all of your well wishes and please come back, scribe type stuff over the course of the last 24 hours. Let's see. Do we have anything to talk about before we get into the schnuzz?
Not on my end.
Okay. Well, it has been a kind of light day. Like nothing, as far as I know, catastrophic happened, but something in the realm of politics happened just shortly before stream time. And that is Tom Price was, well, he resigned, but,
Yes.
you know, resigned, quotation marks around resigned. And our friend at CNN, Chris Cillizza, has a breakdown of what happened for us. Tom Price broke Trump's cardinal rule: never get bad headlines for the boss.
Yeah, that was the problem.
That was exactly the problem. It had nothing to do with... Yeah, anyway. So this is Chris Cillizza's completely unbiased commentary on the subject. Less than an hour before Donald Trump fired/accepted the resignation, well, I'll give him that, of Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price, the president made it very clear why his cabinet secretary was being let go. Quote, "I don't like the optics," Trump said, adding, "We're renegotiating NAFTA. We're renegotiating so many things and making much better deals. You'll be seeing other things come up. So I don't like to see somebody that perhaps there's the perception that it wasn't right," unquote. Okay. Just in case you missed the point, Trump also noted, "I was disappointed because I didn't like it cosmetically or otherwise." Optics, perception, cosmetically, you get the idea. Okay. Price was not fired because of the more than 24 private flights he took at taxpayer expense. He was fired because he violated Trump's first principle: never ever make the boss look bad, especially in the press. Price had become a major distraction for Trump in his White House on a week that Trump wanted the focus to be on his tax reform proposal. Price made the storyline all about how the president wasn't draining the swamp as promised. Yes, Trump also picked a fight with the NFL, got caught flat-footed on the humanitarian crisis in Puerto Rico, and saw his preferred candidate lose a Senate race in Alabama. But Trump isn't going to blame Trump for a bad week. Come on, pay attention. God, this is annoying.
Really?
Yeah, I'm reading it as it is written. That is, I've said it before. You ever see the movie Good Night and Good Luck?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a movie about Edward R. Murrow and the whole him versus Joe McCarthy back in the old and dark ages of the Red Scare. And I mean, Murrow is sort of like this mythic figure in journalism because he had this gravitas and this integrity of journalism that has completely died. And every time that I read something like this, and I know that this is the front, effectively, because there's no newspapers really anymore, effectively the front page story of a major news publication, more or less, and it sounds like a blog.
Yeah.
It sounds like some kind of teenager's blog. It just bugs the hell out of me. Anyway, let's see. He then lists off the mistakes that supposedly went into this. Mistake number 1, blaming the administration for all of this. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders was quick to note Thursday that the White House had no pre-approval of Price's flights. That doesn't mean Price was lying. It just means that no one inside the actual White House signed off. Mistake number 2, offering to repay $52,000 when the total cost of the flights was in excess of $1 million. Quote, it was over when he offered to pay part of the cost, one House member who served with Price told CNN's Lauren Fox. That's admitting full guilt without full penance. I did also find that a little kooky. It's like, oh, I'll pay it back. Like
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, some of it. 52 grand worth. Like, wait a second. I'm not saying it was a bad thing for Tom Price to go. I'm just
No, he absolutely needed to go with there's no reason for him to be spending that much of the taxpayers' money in that manner.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah.
Good for him to go, but come on.
Am I roboting, or is that?
I don't hear any.
I don't hear any. So I don't hear any from either of you. Does chat hear it from us?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Let's see. So aside from that story, I don't know of anything really major otherwise going on. So I have one other story before we get to MSS News, I suppose, because I hear we have a lot of MSS News to cover.
Yeah, we didn't get to very much last night.
Yeah, so this is really weird because I picked this kind of crosses over into YouTube time, but I really can't help it because I've seen this all over the place. The video I posted today, I chose to work on about 2 days ago. But then after I posted it today, the subject matter of my video is a national news story.
Nice.
Not the video itself, but the subject of it. And here we go. This is a story that actually was posted last night, when I'd already finished making the video, essentially. I just hadn't posted it yet. And it caught my eye. Racist propaganda. Librarian rejects Melania Trump's gift of Dr. Seuss books.
What?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Now.
One of Melania Trump's favorite books is Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go, which she read with her son Barron over and over when he was younger. The First Lady, who is increasingly carving out a public profile for herself, chose the classic children's book and 9 other Dr. Seuss titles to send to an elementary school in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in celebration of National Read a Book Day. But a librarian at Cambridge Port School refused to accept the gift, criticizing Trump administration education policies and images in the books. Seuss's illustrations are, quote, steeped in racist propaganda, caricatures, and harmful stereotypes, librarian Liz Phipps-Sorrero wrote in a letter to Trump on Tuesday. The librarian wrote that rather than sending books to a well-funded elementary school in Cambridge, Trump should instead be devoting resources to schools in, quote, underfunded and underprivileged communities that are marginalized and maligned by policies put in place by Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. Critics view DeVos, whatever, a billionaire who has worked for decades to promote school choice or alternative to traditional public schools as one of the most anti-public education secretaries in the department's history. Giving the books was part of Trump's effort to use her platform to, quote, help as many children as she can, White House spokeswoman Stephanie Grisham said. These efforts include hosting a roundtable discussion Thursday about the opioid epidemic, including how it affects youths, and speaking at a luncheon on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly about work she hopes to do as anti-bullying advocate. So I'm going to get back down to the...
So she donated a book and they didn't like it because... never mind.
Well, yeah. So I'm going to scroll down to where we get to the part about... Because this is now a thing. Dr. Seuss is racist. Well, not only that,
but is he racist?
That's actually part of the. I will talk about that at YouTube time. Tell you what, let me hold this off till YouTube time.
Cool.
Rather than bleed into that, because when we start talking about that, I'll talk about it then. So unless we know of or someone knows of some other like me, I'll check the front pages here just to make sure I'm not missing anything catastrophic that just happened or something. I don't see anything in particular. Oh, by the way, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones movies, hit that like button. And if you like what we do, please share it. Because
even if you don't
like what we do, yeah. If you hate it, if you think we're shit.
Yeah, then share it and be really upset and tell all your friends to go watch how fucking awful we are.
Yeah, if we suck in your mind, send us to your worst enemy. Go ahead.
If you think I'm a horrible sexual harasser, make sure you share my stuff.
If you think Monkey should be Batman and not Superman, share his stuff.
I was so disappointed with being Superman.
If you'd like to save 15% or more
on your
card,
card,
sure. It's talk to Satsu.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at MSS News. Chat, if you have news stories you'd like us to take a look at, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News, and we will take a look. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but on days like this, where we have such a thin news day, we might get to them all. So let's see. What do we got? We have... Okay, we'll try this one. This comes from senior staff reporter Jack Cochran. And what do we have from Jack Cochran today? If it'll load up. Will it load up? Of course it won't load up. It'll just sit there and grind away. That's great. No, I'll take something. There we go. White South African family's refugee bid rejected, accused of boosting case with racist propaganda. Okay.
Nice.
The claim of the family of 6 was based on being white South Africans at risk of persecution due to their race, namely Afrikaners. Okay. A white family from South Africa has had their refugee claim for asylum in Canada rejected after having been accused of submitting, quote, white supremacist hate literature, unquote, to bolster their claims of violence by the black majority in their homeland. The claim of the family of 6 was based on being white South Africans at risk of persecution due to their race, namely Afrikaners, the white minority descended from Dutch settlers in southern Africa. Eric Williams Andre and Sonia Andre, a married couple, along with 2 of their children and Sonia's parents, all came to Canada in 2016 to visit relatives living here and made refugee claim 10 days later. The Andres said they were victims of carjacking in 1995, were assaulted on their farm by 4 black men who entered their home and robbed them in 2004, had their home burglarized in 2013, their car stolen from outside their house in 2014, and that same year, 3 black men tried to steal Sonia's cell phone while she was working. The Immigration and Refugee Board denied them refugee protection, saying there was no reliable evidence they were attacked due to their race, and it was more probable they were attacked for economic reasons to steal their possessions. The Andre family appealed to the Federal Court of Canada, the latest challenge by white South Africans seeking asylum in Canada in post-apartheid South Africa. And it goes on for quite a bit, but
so they weren't oppressed for the right reason.
I guess they have to
That's
prove
kind of fucked up.
they have to prove they were racially targeted.
All right.
Well, okay.
I don't know how Canadian immigration or refugee things work. So thank you, Sweeper Steven. Just have to show some love. Nice to have you back, Scribe, and you guys pick. All right. I will make a note and keep that in mind. Hey, Monkey SDA, if you come up with some ideas for Sweeper's ad, I won't deny it.
A bookshelf.
I was going to say a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to write some rhymes at that point.
Yeah, then do a bookshelf.
A bookshelf? Okay.
Yeah.
Bookshelf.
All right, let me random. Okay, bookshelf. All right, let me think about that one. What's next on the list? Jack Cochran has sent us a potential deep topic. I won't tell you where it's coming from. I'll just say Wapipo. Wapipo.
Potential deep topic has to be the root.
Guy sent us 2 root articles in a row. Okay, well, oh man. Let's see. Veto self-defense. Okay, let's try this. Excuse me. One more from Jack Cochran. Why is everything loading so slow today? This comes from the College Fix. Student president vetoes self-defense resolution following reported sexual assault. Okay. A student body president vetoed a resolution supporting students' rights to non-lethal self-defense in the wake of a highly publicized sexual assault allegations at Capital University in Ohio. Vetoed the right to non-lethal okay. President Jason Fugit is inventing procedural and technical reasons to prevent the bill's passage, according to members of a student group who wrote Senate Bill Number 1. Despite majority support for the bill in a Tuesday night student Senate vote, Fugate said he wouldn't approve any similar bill until he was convinced the entire student body supported it. The veto is, quote, little more than an effort by the university administration to bury this conversation before it even starts, the bill's 3 authors, also members of the university's Young Americans for Liberty chapter, said in a joint statement. This is a clear example of university bureaucrats putting a political agenda over student safety.
Sounds like.
Central Ohio universities issued alerts last week after a, quote, convicted serial groper who is not a student, okay, was arrested in connection with an alleged sexual assault at Capitol. In response to that incident and other violence targeting Capitol students, Student Senator Garrett Kerr, the campus coordinator of Students for Liberty, joined with the pro-Liberty Student Government Caucus to advocate for a No More Victims measure, a Students for Liberty spokesperson told the College Fix in an email. Senate Bill 1, which had 6 sponsors, asked the university's Board of Trustees to adopt concealed carry policies similar to those at the University of Texas, Austin, and, quote, in line with the Ohio Revised Code. It would treat stun guns or tasers, apparently meaning the electroshock weapons made by the company formerly known as Taser, in the same manner as self-defense sprays such as mace that students are currently allowed to carry. Okay. I don't know.
Why wouldn't you want them to be able to defend themselves?
Yeah,
well, because they're weapons, I guess. I don't know.
So is this like a gun control oversensitivity kind of veto? Like, you know, this is like a gateway drug for allowing guns on campus or something?
Sounds like.
Weird. Yeah, so that's the meat of that story. Let me see. What else do we have? Trying to find a funny one. We need some funny ones. Oh. Well, I did mention Saskatoon in one of my ads the other night, so sure, why not? This one comes from Peter Stewart. Saskatoon same-sex couple designs LGBT-friendly greeting cards. Okay, I'd love an example. Oh, they have an example.
All right.
Kate 1 loves Kate 2, but she's not the kind of person to plan ahead. Okay. She is the last-minute type, so when she went shopping in Saskatoon to find a card for her sweetheart, she was sadly disappointed because there are no greeting cards in Saskatoon. Okay. Quote, we just want to be able to go into a store and have as much of a selection for our queer friends as we do our straight friends, said Kate Hofstra 1. You know, there are a lot of cards out there that are effectively ambiguous as to the reader. You know, you could have a bikini girl on the card that's technically meant for a guy but doesn't say it's for a guy, or a big muscular guy on the card and it's a joke. Anyway. Kate, too, wasn't heartbroken that her love was unable to find a card. In fact, when they married in June, all of the well-meaning cards they received from people who love and support them were somehow lacking a specific sentiment. Quote, they were vague, like it just said love on the front, or 2 champagne glasses clicking together, said Kate, too. We did have one person who came to our wedding who was able to find a card with 2 women on the front, which was actually surprising. But they said they had searched all over the city to find it. They spent a full day doing that. You have no problems in your life. I'll just say it's short and sweet. If this is what weighs on your brain during your wedding, I'll tell you what, wedding cards and wedding gifts, and I just know this from an observer, are always like that because people play it safe. They don't want to do one thing or the other, just like, ha ha ha. Most cards for wedding days should be, I hope it lasts longer than a year.
Yeah. Good luck with that, bitch.
I did a project in school where I took a whole bunch of like generic greeting cards and I rewrote the sentiments inside for what they should really say given the events surrounding the card.
Oh yeah.
And I'd always base it on the front of the card, so it says like there was this wedding card that said something like the beginning of a new journey, and inside I wrote something like hopefully not to the divorce lawyers. You know, it's just fun stuff like that. Okay, and that's yeah. So they created a series of cards that. So it's 2 pineapples with bow ties.
Okay.
I will send the link out just so you can, that's their brilliant idea. It's like, this is how we're going to be LGBT friendly, I guess. Thank you, Sanguine. Good night and good luck-esque movie set during Caligula's war against Neptune. What? You want me to do? Oh my God. Okay. Sanguine. Okay, so Edward.
But it's Caligula, so you can be dirty if you want.
Versus Horsefucker. Okay. And if any of you have seen the movie Caligula, then you know what I'm talking. Or I should say the unrated version of Caligula. War versus Neptune. Holy cats. All right. It's on the list. It's going to be a tomorrow thing. I almost guarantee it. Peterbilt says,
Wait,
look for...
Instead of against Neptune, can it be against Aquaman?
Oh, God! That's up to Sanguine. That's up to Sanguine. If Sanguine wants to change it, it's fine. Peterbilt says I have to look for his story on here. I will in a second. I want to get Sanguine's response to this because I want to make sure I get this right. I don't want to disappoint the paying customer here.
Indeed.
Let's see. Well, while he's doing that, Jesse just hugs me. Well, thank
Jordan
you, Jesse.
laughed at that.
That's good. Yeah, Jordan, bane of my present existence. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking for Peterbilt's entry here. Peterbilt. Dealer's choice on that one. Okay, so should I change Neptune to Aquaman?
Oh yeah. Chat, if he should change it to Aquaman, type 1 now.
Yeah, type 1.
Let's let chat decide that.
Sure, we'll let chat. So for Neptune 2, Aquaman 1. There's your voting. So you go for that while I Lady Monkey's trying to stuff the Lady Monkey's stuffing the ballot box. 1. What?
Ballot
Okay.
box just jumped.
Yeah, I think that's a confirmation. Skeptox says 11. He turned it up to 11. I Am Cancer says 2. Oh, I see how it is. All right. Okay, so it'll be versus Aquaman. Let me change my Caligula versus Aquaman. Caligula. Yes. It's gonna be Caligula fucking Aquaman's dolphins.
That works.
Like Aquaman's gonna find Caligula just railing his dolphins and then go to war with him. Oh man, this is gonna be messy. Peterbilt, I don't know where you are on this list because I don't see you. I don't see your story on it. I'm scrolling way down. I'm like a day back now, and I don't see you on here. So maybe I missed it. I'll scan up one more time, but I'm gonna have to move on to somebody else if I can't see you here. Can you give me a hint as to what the story was about? Because maybe I'll spot that. I missed your name or something. See his kitten, Peter. Oh, there you go. Pickup truck. Was that it, Peter? Okay, I'll give that a try. Maybe that's it. Okay, this comes from a blog called Truck Yeah, bitches. And now it's blocked me because I'm using an ad blocker, so I can't read the story. Okay, let me try that one more time. Maybe I can get past it. Okay. And this comes from the same family of blogs as The Root. Ranting Monkey Fight Club starring Aquaman and Scribe Light. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a first. Okay, Jesus.
If you've seen the movie, you get that joke.
Fight Club. Okay. You want that to be like a movie trailer? What are you asking for?
Yeah, I want a movie trailer.
Movie trailer. Okay.
Or if you want, you can do the book. That's fine.
No, radio ads sound better for movie trailers anyway. I get that dramatic voice thing going. Okay, so the story from Truck Yeah. Pickup truck's cab flies off its frame in dumbfounding crash. And I really have to send this one out because there's a picture that really tells the story in one way or another. Okay. The body mounts of a 2002 Chevrolet. Did I hear Grand Monkey?
No.
Oh, I heard a sound that sounded like a Grand Monkey making a noise. Okay. The body mounts of a 2002 Chevrolet Silverado pickup failed today after a mechanical failure caused the driver to lose control of the truck. The end result is that photo you see above, the cab completely separated from the frame. That does look horrific. This afternoon,
That looks bad.
Yeah, in Pelham, New Hampshire, police responded to a report of a vehicle rollover. And again, I'm reading it as the blog is written, which I guess is sort of applicable in this situation. According to the Pelham Police Department's press release, say that 12 times fast, the 21-year-old driver felt the steering wheel begin to shake just prior to losing control. A crash ensued, and when the police arrived, the truck's cab was, quote, completely separated from the frame. Luckily, the occupant was able to just crawl out of the truck with only minor injuries, which, as the Pelham Police Department's Facebook page puts it, say that 20 times fast, makes her very lucky. Yeah, because like the entire front half of the car just flipped over on its, yeah, that's crazy. That's basically it. I mean, thankfully nobody died. It's just a really kooky mechanical failure, and there's probably going to be a lawsuit on the way to Chevrolet.
Sure, sure.
Okay, let me go back and scroll up. What's this? Oh, okay. This sounds good. This comes from G Prime of Candor, which sounds like something from Army of Darkness or a sci-fi movie. Former Google employee is engineering his own AI religion.
What? Fuck.
Former Google engineer Anthony Lewandowski is emerging from the shadow of a self-driving lawsuit to create a robot god.
All right.
The present continues to take inspiration from science fiction author Isaac Asimov's visions of the future. In The Last Question, Asimov conceived of an artificial intelligence project known as Multivac. Its purpose was to solve for the inevitable heat death of the universe, but in the end, it becomes that answer. Lewandowski seems to have taken that story very closely to heart. His newly founded Way of the Future organization, whose filings were first uncovered by Wired, exists to, quote, develop and promote the realization of a Godhead based on artificial intelligence and through understanding and worship of the Godhead, contribute to the betterment of society, unquote. Okay. Yes, you read that right. To quote Wired's Mark Harris, God is a bot and Anthony Lewandowski is his messenger. At least that is the plan. But Lewandowski, like so many prophets, did not begin his life as an aspiring holy man. He was once the co-founder of self-driving trucking company Otto. Ooh, we have another truck reference here. Purchased by Uber, and now at the center of a lawsuit from Google's parent company Alphabet for Lewandowski's alleged theft of their technology from competitor Waymo. Good God, it sounds like some plot line from Dallas.
Yeah, it does.
Sort of. Currently, Lewandowski may even be looking toward incarceration if Google's gestating criminal case makes further headway. That does not, however, seem to be slowing Anthony Lewandowski down. Well, of course not. I mean, criminal allegations never stops any religion. Just ask L. Ron Hubbard. His vision for a religion centered on an AI godhead has been quietly developing since that initial 2015 filing. Author and futurist Yuval Noah Harari, via The New Statesman, expressed his firm belief in the inevitability of religion's own evolution. He believes ideas like this are a logical product of the times in which we live. Religion and logical are not two words that go together, just so you know. As he explained, quote, that is why agricultural deities were different from hunter-gatherer spirits, why factory hands and peasants fantasized about different paradises, and why the revolutionary technologies of the 21st century are far more likely to spawn unprecedented religious movements than to revive medieval creeds. But they're all based on bullshit. Right? I mean, the window dressing may change, but the story's the same. Thank you, Cryptic. In the spirit of Halloween, a movie trailer for a Pumpkinhead versus Candyman. Now that is something I can sink my teeth into. I've seen both those movies. I actually own Candyman around here somewhere. Okay, you got it, Cryptic. Pumpkinhead. Ooh, and I'll fit Lance Hendrickson in there somewhere because he was cool. And all right, and Tony Todd's still alive too, so they could actually do that. I wish they'd do more versus movies for the Hollywood monsters. There should be like Michael Myers versus Leatherface or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to find out what are the details of this religion. I really want to know. Let's see. He doesn't say. It doesn't give any specifics. Just that it's like an AI god. Okay. Well. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can make a super duper artificial intelligence, but at no point will they become divine. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Blasphemy.
Let's see. What I wanted to. What's this? Oh, okay. We'll do one more from G Prime of Candor, and this is actually kind of pertinent because I was just for my own Schadenfreude entertainment watching portions of the election coverage that the Young Turks did as they slowly melted down as Trump won over Hillary.
So beautiful to watch. It's
not that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Watching the joy just slowly fade from their face.
Yeah, and it's the Schadenfreude. It's not the actual result. I was amazed that night at the reversal of prediction. I wasn't jazzed that, well, I wasn't going to be jazzed no matter who won, but just watching them and their hubris and their arrogance just devolve is really funny. But anyway, that's why this story is relevant to me with that mindset. Representative Moulton, not sure Democrats have learned the right lessons. Party in worst position since the 1920s.
I would disagree with that.
I don't think it's in the worst position in the 1920s. I think Democrats and the Democratic Party in general have successfully formed a sphere of denial around them that will basically make everything that happened over the course of the election moot. And basically,
that I can agree with.
Essentially, I mean, in everything but actual reality, just hit the reset button on where they think their position is in the world. I think that's a more accurate estimation of what's going on. But anyway,
well, real quick, I think it was last night that I was talking about this. I remember back in the 90s before Clinton was elected, there were jokes about how Democrats would never win again. And then Clinton won, and it was all of a sudden, oh, Republicans are never going to win again. And it's gone back and forth.
Yep.
I mean, we saw the same thing under Obama. The Republicans will never win again. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Doubting Tommy. Horror B movie of your choice starring Lords of the Night.
Oh,
now you're giving me some leeway to work with here. Like Sanguine always paints me into this very tiny corner, but you guys, all right. Not that I'm complaining, Sanguine. They're always entertaining, but you give me a little room to maneuver. It's always
that sounded like complaining to me.
Well, it's a little bit okay. It's a little bit of complaining. A little bit of complaining. Anyway, I mean, don't get me wrong. Almost all of these, no matter what they are, they always stretch my creative brain quite a bit. Especially that last chunk where I had like 11 of them to do in a day.
Oh yeah,
that was.
By the way, my son enjoyed those. He actually mentioned it to me.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Which Sunky or Clunky?
Can't call him Clunky.
it's the older son.
The older one. My clone, yes.
Okay, clone. Yeah, clone monkey. That's why I call him Clunky. Okay, so anyway, the representative said, when asked by co-host Willie Geist if he thought his party had learned the right lessons from the 2016 defeat, Moulton said he was not sure and described the party as being in its worst position since the 1920s. Quote, "I'm not sure we have. I think we have to take a hard look at ourselves in the mirror and recognize that we've lost, not just in 2016, but in several elections before that. We're in the worst position we've been in since the 1920s, in the House, the Senate, and the White House. We're not in a governing position at all. And if we don't realize that we are partly to blame for that," partly is giving yourselves too much credit, "that we have lost touch with the American voters, we've lost touch with the voters who used to be on our side, then we're not going to be able to move forward. So rather than just opposing the Trump administration and telling everybody about how awful the Republicans are, Let's show a vision for our own future. Yes, that's exactly what Hillary did not do. So at least start there. Look at what Hillary did and do the opposite.
Yeah, that's an absolutely fair point.
It is. Yeah, that part I completely agree with. Let's talk about what Democrats can do for the country. Let's talk about a Democratic tax reform plan, a Democratic national security plan, a Democratic plan to build infrastructure. That's what we should be talking about, a real vision for the future. I completely agree. I think he's wrong on the Democrats' position because, like I say, I think both progressives / liberals in the country, along with the Democratic Party, are looking for reasons other than themselves to blame, and they will go along as normal. But in order to get anybody else either on the fence or on the other side of the equation to think that they have the better idea, you have to promote a better idea and not just the other guy sucks.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me make sure I haven't missed anything on Super Chat. What else do we have? We got so much news here. Oh my gosh. I'll save that one for later because that also goes into my YouTube thing. So that's a good one. What do we have here? A quartz. Oh, okay. This comes from Thoughts from the Dryer. It also comes from Louder with Crowder. So, grain of salt as always. The headline says, Quartz claims Antifa uses violence as a last resort.
Yeah, sure they do.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got Antifa on the brain today. It's hard not to when they clog the news feeds with their douchery every week. Again, I'm reading as it's written. So beating everyone you come in contact with has a way of drawing national attention. Naturally, the left comes to their defense every time they get their violence on and makes asses of themselves. Just ask these swinging monkey jockeys over at Quartz. And if you don't know what Quartz is a blogging news site, in name at least. They're claiming violence is strictly a last resort for Antifa. And Lena Dunham is the new Raquel Welch. See, you too can play this game. Oh, man. Did you ever see Mother Jugs and Speed?
I'm sorry?
The Harvey Keitel, Cosby, and Raquel Welch. Ever seen the movie? Oh, God. It's called Mother Jugs and Speed. And her nickname is Jugs. It's all about these ambulance drivers and all the crazy antics they get up to. It's an old movie, but Raquel Welch. Anyway. Since the tragic events at Charlottesville, the American public has been grappling with the question of whether or not it is acceptable to use violence against neo-Nazis and white supremacists. At the center of and this is them quoting Quartz, by the way. At the center of this debate is a group of loosely organized protesters known as Antifa, short for anti-fascist. Whenever white supremacists congregate, a group of Antifa demonstrators can be found nearby. They are known for their trademark black clothing and for hiding their identity, but most of all, they are known for the tactics by which they confront Nazis with.
No, but the tactics they confront anybody who disagrees with them with.
We move back to the author for a second. I'm giving that last phrase a bad mark. Let's try again, Quartz. Quote, they are known for the violent tactics with which they confront Nazis, wherein Nazi is defined willy-nilly depending upon which way the dice rolled that
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so what? It's not like they're approaching people who are actually doing anything violent.
Right. And even if you're approaching someone who is a Nazi, let's say they're actually a Nazi, which they can't be, but anyway, let's say they're wearing a swastika and they've got a little Hitler mustache and everything else. Just them doing that is not a violent act.
Nope.
Back to the Quartz thing. At first glance, it seems reasonable to condemn what are seemingly random acts of violence occurring on American streets. Anti-fascist violence is fundamentally misunderstood. Okay. Dismissed as reckless and unnecessary, it is actually a last resort tactic that is born out of necessity and meticulous planning.
Suck my dick. What the fuck?
Okay, hold on. Meticulous planning. I want you to take a look at any video of Antifa trying to turn over a garbage can and tell me that's meticulous.
So it's a last resort, but it's meticulously planned.
A meticulously planned last resort.
Yeah, okay. That's like what most last resorts are.
Like the attack on the German bunker by the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Kiss my ass.
Back to the author. A last resort? Question mark. Violence is Antifa's first and only resort. We even have firsthand videographic evidence that show Antifa asshats giving tips on shivving Nazis and planning to pop off with, quote, sawed-off style shotguns, unquote. Blood gets spilled everywhere Antifa...
Did you guys see Crowder's video on this?
No, I didn't, but I think it's probably linked here somewhere.
Yeah, I watched that this morning. Yeah, he had his producer, Not Gay Jared, actually infiltrate an Antifa group, and they turned their video over to the police.
Yeah,
but yeah, these little fuckers are talking about stabbing people and actually gave him a knife to use and told him how to do it.
That is so messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, fingers crossed that they don't actually cross that line themselves, but
yeah, this was all in preparation for the Ben Shapiro talk at
Lord,
the University of Utah.
Yeah, see, this is we talked about this several months ago, and I brought this up because I was trying to think, you know, we look to history to see the future kind of thing. Sure. And I was thinking back to a really great documentary, if you can find it. It's called The Weather Underground. It talks about how the Students for a Democratic Society, which was sort of the social justice, Black Lives Matter-ish organization of its day back in the 60s, and how it split off into these militant, violent, you weren't being revolutionary enough kind of things. And as violent as Antifa is, as we've seen to this point, they've been relatively ineffective at actually doing lasting harm to people. That's not to say they haven't attacked people. It's not to say they've cracked that guy's skull with the bike lock. But like Monkey's pointed out several times, if they really wanted to kill somebody, they're really bad at it. If they really wanted to do real damage or harm someone, they've been pretty wussy about it. And that's not to encourage them to do so, obviously. But at some point, you know, the people who are dyed-in-the-wool believers in this stuff, if they get pushed into a corner of feeling like they're being made irrelevant or they're not succeeding in their mission or something, they might go over the line like this is suggesting, which let's hope not, because the last thing we need is more domestic terrorism. Let's see. Yeah, the article pretty much ends there. It's just the guy sort of railing on courts for their framing of Antifa violence as somehow some rare thing or some like they're being merciful and not using it as often or something. Which
they're really good guys. Fuck yeah.
Let's see. One more before we get to YouTube time. This one comes from First Cynic. Okay. America's worst mom. Well, you're gonna have to beat Casey Anthony. Just tell me.
Yeah, no shit. Well, she's not a mom anymore, so.
Yeah, by her own actions. Mother left 4 kids aged 6 to 12 at home alone with a gun and went on vacation to Germany with a friend for 11 days, but they could always follow her on Instagram.
You've got to be shitting me.
4 Iowa children found themselves in a real-life home alone scenario last week when their mother left them to their own devices to take an 11-day trip to Germany to see Minding Freeman. Oh, sorry. I'm kidding. Police in Johnstown, Iowa, conducted a welfare check on Erin Lee Mackey's house on September 21st after receiving a tip that her kids, 12-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, a 7-year-old girl, and a 6-year-old girl, were left alone. They found that not only had the children been left alone, but that they had been left alone with a gun out in the open. According to the criminal complaint, Mackey left an unloaded Glock 9mm handgun on top of her dresser next to 2 magazines, one fully loaded and one partially loaded. The children told police that their mom had left for Germany the day before and didn't plan to return until October 1st. When police called Mackey abroad, she said, that's sexist. Oh, sorry. When police called Mackey abroad, she said that all of her babysitters fell through, so she decided to leave the kids home alone.
Fuck. Oh my God.
Scrolling down.
Get a babysitter.
Investigators confirmed that Mackey had made no arrangements to provide adult supervision or care for the children while she was away. Police told Mackey that was unacceptable and ordered her to return home immediately. But she only cut her trip short by 4 days, returning to the U.S. Wednesday night. She was arrested Thursday morning and charged with 4 counts of child endangerment and 1 count of making a firearm available to a person under the age of 21. In Iowa, if a child is not injured or killed due to child endangerment, it's an aggravated misdemeanor with a sentence of up to 2 years in jail or 1 year in jail and a fine between $625 and $6,250. The gun charge is a serious misdemeanor with up to a year in jail time. Okay, I read that right. And a fine between $315 and $1,875. Quote, I've never heard of anything like this before, Johnston Police Lieutenant Tyler Tompkins said. We have situations where parents go next door or parents may go out for the night, and while that's not advisable either depending on the age of the children, obviously leaving the country is a totally different situation. This, where a parent has left the country and left the kids home alone, I've never heard of it before. It's unclear why Mackey traveled to Germany, but the end of September is a popular time to visit the European country since it's when the annual Oktoberfest festival takes place in Munich, the capital city of the Bavarian region. Photos posted on Mackey's Instagram last week show her touring Bavaria with a girlfriend and a baby. A baby. So the girlfriend brought her baby, her children. Mackey is a bodybuilding bikini competitor. Oh, they got pictures of her in a bikini. Anyway, yeah. So, worst mother in the world. There are women that kill their kids, but this lady is up there as just.
She's definitely close. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay, I'm going to send the link out for this. And the monkey, I want you to scroll down and take a look at the second picture from the bottom and tell me if you see anything really interesting about that lady. Because I'm looking at it and I was like, yeesh, that looks unhealthy. And you tell me.
Second from the bottom. Let me get that.
Second from the bottom.
Damn, there's a lot of pictures here.
I know. Take a look at the second picture from the bottom. I noticed something immediately just because I'm a man, but also, yeesh.
What?
Look at her thighs.
Your thighs, yeah.
They got like spider web veins all over them. That's really weird looking. That's like varicose veins or something. I mean, not varicose veins, but that's creepy.
Maybe it's just the lighting. I don't know.
Vote for vodka on it. That doesn't.
Thank you.
Sounds right.
Thank you, Estenu. Some love from Germany. Movie trailer: White Bunnies versus Antifa. White bunnies.
Okay.
Like, oh, you mean like Playboy bunnies? I could do that. But okay, white bunnies. I just thought of something. Okay, I'll just say one thing to people is where my brain's going. Night of the Lepus. That's what I'll say.
How the fuck can you leave your kids at home like that?
I don't know. That's really fucked up.
How do I know that name, Estenu? Is that something from Star Wars?
I don't know. I want to punch this woman in the face.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of her. Okay, let's do YouTube time because it's about that time. SDA, what did you do over the last day or so? SDA? Oh, she muted herself. Okay.
She's taking the fifth.
Sorry.
Oh.
What?
What did you do any YouTube stuff in the last day?
No, I didn't have time to do anything today.
Okay. Do you have anything upcoming for the weekend?
Yeah, not really. I think we're doing a book club tomorrow.
Okay. Monkey, what did you do today?
I watched Grand Monkey, but I am working on a video with Cognitive Thought. It'll be going over the Colin Kaepernick thing in a little bit more detail than I've done before. And I still want to take a crack at that gaming article we read the other night.
Oh, right, the gamers are still dead thing.
Yeah, that one pissed me off. It really pissed me off. So other than that, I haven't had a chance to work on anything, but I have things coming.
Okay. Well, yeah, this morning. So the reason I was gone last night is I had a doctor's appointment that bled over into what would have been stream time anyway. And then after that, because of month-end stuff, I was kind of on call for work stuff. So I might have been called away, and I would have been called away in the middle of the stream had I attended. So it was just easier for me to just bow out for the night than have to be all over the place and just kind of waiting on the clock kind of deal. So I used some of that free time, though, to work on a video, which I released this morning. And, oh, thank you, Sanguine. In honor of Hugh and all the bunnies he leaves behind, a bunny adoption service. Oh, oh. Okay, guys, I'm almost positive these are all going to be done on tomorrow night's YouTube time for me, because I got a lot to talk about on my video and the current events and such. So if you're unable to watch live tomorrow night's stream, when you do get a chance, just scan forward till you find YouTube time, and I'll be dedicating my YouTube time to doing all the ads from tonight. So anyway, a couple days ago, there was a Talks at Google posted that was entitled, "Is the Cat in the Hat Black?" And I took the first like 5 or 6 minutes of this video, because it's like an hour-long talk the guy gives. But in the first 5 or 6 minutes, he gives his essentially his thesis statement. And it comes down to the cat in the Hat was inspired, says the story, by Dr. Seuss being essentially challenged by a publisher to come up with a reading book for kids. And as he was leaving the publishing company's building, he was in the elevator, and at the time this was back in 1955 or 6 or something. Mm-hmm. And at the time there was an elevator operator, like in the olden days, and the elevator operator was a petite black woman with white gloves on and a sly smile. And so our speaker in my video says that Dr. Seuss took the gloves, smile, and color of that woman as inspiration for the Cat in the Hat. And because gloves, white gloves on a black person, harkens to minstrel shows of the olden days, not only the Cat in the Hat, but Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz, Raggedy Ann, these are all images of racism, and they promote racism. Now, if you watch the, I'm basically giving away all of my video, but the weird thing is that I was starting to work on this, and then all of a sudden, having nothing to do with this particular speaker, but then we have this thing where Melania Trump donates a bunch of Dr. Seuss books, and all of a sudden they're racist because reasons. And the reasons, at least according to this professor or the doctor or whatever guy that I was listening to, is that, well, his fur is black. And I'm like, it's also white. And so he took the smile, the gloves, and you say the color from this woman. And I say, okay, well, tell you what, I'll grant you that. I say, I'll stipulate. I'll say yes. He took, even though the only quotation we have about the story is that he took the gloves and the smile and had nothing to do with the color, but okay, fine. The color, the gloves, the smile. And I'll even ignore the fact that the cat is male. I'll ignore the fact that the cat has a hat. I'll ignore the fact that the cat has a bow tie. I'll ignore that all of these things outnumber the number of things you say were inspired by this one person and all the stuff that doesn't come from that person. And I'll stipulate he completely made a picture of that woman. What is imitation?
Sincerest form of flattery.
Why would you flatter someone you hate?
Why would it be racist just because he made it?
Well, but here's the other thing too. At no point, and now I will say, I did not watch the entire spiel. I got sick of listening to this guy's nonsense after about 6 minutes. So maybe he does, but at no point in his opening gambit, let's say, does he quote anything from the book, The Cat in the Hat. Just the character's appearance as proof of racial insinuation by Dr. Seuss. And that somehow this is like being transmitted to children, because he mentions that in there as well. And But then as soon as he says that about the smile and the gloves and the coloration, he says, well, now the bow tie comes from a character from the early 40s and 50s called Crazy Cat, which was a different cartoon. And I was like, oh, what does Crazy Cat look like? And if you look up what Crazy Cat looked like in black and white print in the old newspapers, what does he look like? He looks like a proto Cat in the Hat because he's got black fur and a white face. So was Cat in the Hat a black person, or was Cat in the Hat an homage to Crazy Cat, a different cartoon character? But the guy doesn't even mention that. It just bakes my brain listening to these guys looking for castles in the clouds. That's one of the allusions I make to the whole thing. It's just, or analogies.
It's asinine is what it is.
Your favorite word.
Yes. Because it fits so many times.
Did you ever read Cat in the Hat or Dr. Seuss SDA?
I think she's silenced.
Oh, I don't have the window open. My bad.
Sorry, Jinx is playing in the other room. Yeah, I did. And I also remember when like the live action movie came out. I don't know if you guys saw it. Monkey, you might have, because your kids are the same age as me.
Yeah, the Mike Myers deal.
Yeah. I remember that vividly. I remember reading Dr. Seuss books as well.
Yeah.
As a kid. I mean, like Green Eggs and Ham, the fish book.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy even mentions, he says like, oh, well, but Dr. Seuss, he was outspoken against racism. The Sneetches was actually a book meant to essentially represent battling anti-Semitism. He goes to a great effort to show that, Dr. Seuss was actually trying to send positive messages.
Now that I think about it, I was actually in Seussical the Musical as a middle school.
Really? What did you play?
I was one of the Wickersham brothers.
Nice.
It was fun. No, for a while I could act because of like one of the beginning songs of it is literally word for word Horton Hears a Who.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a while I could directly quote about half of Horton Hears a Who.
But anyway, so in association, let me continue with that news story about Melania Trump, and then a very funny little tidbit that somebody discovered about the lady who complained about it. Seuss has long been associated with children's literacy. The National Education Association's annual Read Across America Day, when cities and towns across the country host events to celebrate reading, is March 2nd, Seuss's birthday. One of the reasons we partnered with Seuss 20 years ago in 1997 was to kickstart this program, NEA spokesman Stephen Grant told the School Library Journal. He said an estimated 45 million students and teachers take part in the reading events annually, and that in the past 2 years, the program's mission has been shifting towards promoting diverse literature. Of course it is. So where does it get down to how this is racist?
Well, does diverse literature mean like different styles of writing and stuff like that?
They don't say.
They don't say. That would actually be interesting to introduce kids to like a bunch of different kinds of writings and a bunch of different kinds of stories to figure out what they like. But no, it's probably just, I don't know, better drawn black characters, whatever.
Okay, so the librarian who complained about this, Phipps Serrero, points to recent literature that addresses potential racism in Seuss's work, including a book by professor of children's literature. Oh, that's where it comes from. Aha, that's the connection. Okay, so the guy who I did the video on, his name is Philip Nell, and this librarian is citing his book that argues that Seuss's depiction of the Cat in the Hat was based on racial stereotypes and inspired by traditions of blackface entertainment. That's where this comes from. So there is a direct connection. I thought it was just coincidence. I honestly thought it was just I just happened to find this Google talk, and then suddenly there was a news story about it. No, this lady is directly influenced by that guy that I did the video on. Great. But you know what's really funny?
They're all morons?
Well, here's the story from the Daily Wire. Librarian who slammed Melania over racist Dr. Seuss books dressed up as the Cat in the Hat for Seuss's birthday. In her lengthy letter to a lengthy open letter to Melania Trump, Cambridge school librarian Liz Phipps Serrero claimed that the illustrations in the books of Dr. Seuss are steeped in racist propaganda, caricatures, and harmful stereotypes. Considering her alleged disdain for Dr. Seuss, one must wonder why, to celebrate the birthday of the prolific author in 2015, Serrero dressed up as the Cat in the Hat to read Green Eggs and Ham to kindergarteners and first graders.
Well, she hadn't been told it was racist yet.
I'm going to put the link up on chat for people because that's just too sweet. Yeah, she didn't know it was racist till some guy's book told her it was racist.
Yep.
I love it. Love it. Anyway, that's... I understand that I kind of went really long on my YouTube video, but it was just so weird to see, because I rarely do anything that's like current event topical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it depends on the situation, but mostly I look for, sort of obscure things. But this is the first time I was like, oh, I just did a video on that. That's amazing. But there was a crossover. So anyway, do we have a deep topic, or shall I go to the root?
We should go to the root.
You think so? SDA, do you have any deep topic ideas?
The root?
That's our go-to. All right, let's see what Jack Cochran had in store for us, if the Twitter app will allow me to do that. Okay. We have a whole bunch of extra stories that people have posted since then, including the librarian dressed up as Dr. Seuss from Stargazer. But which one was the one? Jack Cochran. Okay, here we go. Deep topic, WAPIPO. All right, so this comes from the Very Smart Brothers at the root.
Nice.
And here's our headline. What we're gonna do when the revolution comes.
The revolution.
And the picture that he used for this article is of Michelle Obama and her two daughters. Okay. Let me get a drink here because I need to wet my palate before I start dealing with the root. And that sounded really dirty the way that just came out of my mouth. Pardon me while I get some lubrication on my mouth before I deal with the root. I've recently come across some articles and heard the latest theories about the phenomenon of white anxiety as a precursor to the rise of the era of Trump and Trumpism. Essentially, there's an overwhelming sense of dread that, based on impending demographic trends, has old white people especially worried about their place in the food chain.
Old white people.
That was a confusing way to structure that sentence. White people are afraid of becoming a minority and thus afraid of all of the negative connotations that come with the minority status they've placed on others. Right. Okay. We placed a minority status on others based on math. Correct. Yes. We just, yeah. They're afraid that when they lose their numerical advantage to the others, we're going to meet upon them what's been foisted upon us. That does seem to be the trend, or at least what you believe is being foisted upon you from like 400 years ago or something. And you know what? They're totally right to worry. Okay, thank you. We're definitely coming for them. Black people have been planning the revolution for years. Hint, it won't be televised. And yes, it's the statues first. And after we've yanked all those metal motherfucking monuments down, we're coming to finish the job on white people in total. Oh, great! Race war! Yay!
Yeah, that's weird.
Those two new Black Panthers outside the Philadelphia polling station in 2012, that was the advance team. Your grandparents tried to warn you, but you didn't listen. To put it simply, as soon as we find out that white people are no longer a majority, we have a Google alert set. We're kicking off the revolution. It's coming. Fox News has been right the whole time. That said, this article is strictly based on discussions being held within the Black delegation. We haven't finalized any plans, nor have we been in consultation with our friends from the Latinx, Asian, or Native American organizations, but we're pretty sure we're all working on some level of demographic-based revenge. If you're white and you're reading this, this is your warning. If you're black, think of this as our blueprint for a new America.
Oh, so they're being silly here.
Yeah, they are.
Ha.
Aha. Oh, my sides.
But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of hard. I mean, I kind of figured that they were being satirical in that, but at the same time, it's not as though that. I mean, it's a little bit more extreme than actual sentiments that have been expressed, but not much.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard things like this from people who aren't joking before. Like I've heard Black Lives Matter people saying, "Oh, you know, it's well, like what was it? What was her name? Avis Jones DeWeaver. Avis Jones DeWeaver is one of those inspirational speakers and like women's empowerment people and that kind of thing. I've done a couple of videos that featured her, and she has this spiel in her. Whoa, Snubberth! Holy cats! Thank you. Got a challenge one for you, Scribe. Hence the sizable amount. A 3-movie trilogy of ads with a theme dystopian and/or dark future involving YouTube's anti-skeptic community and their foes, name drops, mannerisms, whatever, if possible with SDA and monkey voiceovers. Whoa. Yeah, that's going to be some thought to be put into that one. But a 3-movie trilogy of it. So you're talking like the promos I did for the stream, sort of like 3 short little video type deals. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a project. Let me think about that one. Are you on Twitter, Snub? I forget. I'm pretty sure you are, but I'll probably want to have to clarify some things with you on this one, but holy cow. Thank you so much. Would you guys be up at some point for a little voiceover work if I wrote a script and stuff?
Oh, sure. Of course.
SDA? Are you dealing with
Yeah.
Juice again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. He's
Okay.
he's
That's
whining and being loud, so I'm trying to keep it from being in the background. But yeah, totally. Those
Okay, cool.
work.
All right. Snubberth, we'll talk in DMs because I want to make sure I get a handle on what you want, because I did that with Jonathan Malone to make sure that I got his stuff down too. But thank you so much. Can't express how humbled I am, and I don't mean that in a joking manner, facetious way. I really do.
I have breaking news.
Oh, okay. What?
What's up?
The second Grand Monkey is going to be a girl as well.
Yay!
Yay.
Just found that out.
Oh boy, 2 little Grand Monkey girls running around.
Yeah, because that's what I need. Another little girl telling me what to do with my life. But that's okay.
Well, that's just the way it is.
It is, and that's fine.
When's the expected date or thereabouts?
March, I believe.
Oh, March, baby. Cool.
February. Oh, that's
February.
right. They moved it up to February.
Okay. Well, congratulations both to the grandparents and to the expecting parents. And is this their first child? Do I have that right?
This will be their first, yeah.
Their first child. Okay, right. Okay. Well, the monkey brood grows larger by one soon. Okay, we have one more from the Root, just for the heck of it, also via Jack Cochran. We'll find out if this is satire or not shortly. Please stop defending Colin Kaepernick. You're doing it wrong. Okay.
So not because you shouldn't defend him, but because you're doing it. Okay, gotcha.
Doing it wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Now that the former San Francisco 49er Colin Kaepernick's protest has been gentrified by arm locking, kneeling before the anthem, and praying. Okay, that last one was just one guy, but still, ... Everyone has been trying to explain the logic behind taking a knee. Right. They say it brings awareness to injustice and inequality. Some argue that Kaepernick was using his platform to start a conversation about race in America. Others say it was about police brutality and had nothing to do with a piece of cloth or a 200-year-old poem set to music. Scribelite personally believes that Colin Kaepernick was actually sitting out because he was throwing a tantrum about not being put into the field as much. Someone asked him about it, and he gave a bullshit answer that they turned into a thing. That's my theory.
You're going to want to see my video with Cog.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
Because I'll tell you exactly why he did it.
Oh, boy. Anyway, continuing. Those people are wrong. Kaepernick had been sitting during the national anthem for 2 games before someone asked him about it. He didn't tell the media his plans because he didn't have any. After a San Francisco preseason game against the Green Bay Packers, NFL.com's Steve Wyke, specifically asked Cap about it. Here's what he said, quote, "On sitting during the anthem, I am not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder," unquote. Yeah, that's why you sat out for 2 games saying nothing, so no one had any idea what you were doing. You just waited till someone asked you, right? Over the past year, people have tried to white-splain taking a knee with gobbledygook, oh, he used my word, about America's need to have a conversation about the underprivileged, inherent bias, or anything that's not about the flag, the anthem, or race. What began as a radical, obstinate statement of resistance and truth has been all lives mattered by people trying to make it palatable for white America. It was always about race. It was always about the flag. It was always about the anthem. He said what he said. Indeed, he did say what he said. If you could peer into the hearts and minds of black people in America, you would find that we have always been, at the very least, conflicted about the flag. All black people? Sounds kind of racist. It has nothing to do with hating this country. But it has everything to do with the unavoidable knowledge that the stars and stripes have always billowed blindly over the centuries of beating and brutality that black people have endured. For us, it's a duality. It simultaneously represents the birthright of our oppressors and the perfect freedom to which we aspire. It stands for the constitutional justification of our subjugation and the laws we invoke to argue for our liberty. It is the rope they use to lynch us and the tourniquet we use to stymie our bleeding. The flag symbolizes a superpower assembled on white supremacy. It is the emblem for the nation that black people built from scratch with our own bruised backs and calloused hands. Okay? Many of us stand during the national anthem out of habit. We recite the Pledge of Allegiance because it is instilled in us, not because we love it, but because it is tradition, because standing and saluting is less troublesome than sitting or kneeling. We don't hate it, but we also don't swoon when it is unfurled. Neither do most Americans. I'll just tell you right now. But anyway, black people don't despise the flag, but many of us also don't feel a swell of pride when we see it wave because we know, for us, this home has never been free or brave. This is not new. The great abolitionist Frederick Douglass stood in front of a crowd of white women 165 years ago. And we said it 165 years ago at the Rochester Ladies Anti-Slavery Society's Independence Day celebration and told them this: "What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciation of tyrants brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than there are the people of the United States at this very hour." Thank you, Captain Brambles.
Did he give that speech?
165 years ago. Thank you, Captain Brambles. A Home Alone remake where Antifa tries to rob the house. Jesus. Home Alone 4. Antifa. Oh, I can make something out of that. Yeah, okay, Captain Brambles. Captain Brambles. Home Alone versus Antifa. All right. How much longer is this thing? Oh God, it goes on for like another 2 pages. Do you want me to read any more of this?
Well, I'm just curious about the date that was done.
Okay, it says at the bottom, July 5th, 1852.
So before the Civil War.
Before the Civil War, before the end of slavery. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That's exactly the same, dumb cunt.
Yeah. No,
okay.
You know what? Frederick Douglass had an exact point. 165 fucking years ago, he did. Tell me how Colin Kaepernick and his situation aligns with the struggle of Frederick Douglass in 1852. Really, I'm really
purely academic. I promise they're reasonable reasons.
I'm sure.
I just love the fact that our author is aligning Colin Kaepernick with Frederick Douglass.
Well, Frederick Douglass was a starting quarterback back in the day.
And they both had crazy hair.
Yeah, they did. For fuck's sake. Even if you went back to the civil rights movement of the 60s, I can kind of see the point. If you're a black athlete today, kiss my ass. Fuck. It's just stupid. It's just gotten so stupid. They are looking to be oppressed. It's as though removing oppression has made them the most oppressed ever.
Well, you remember during the Mizzou protests when Jonathan Butler jumped in front of the dean's car,
yes,
and then claimed that he was hit by the car. That symbolized to me the entire core of the mentality of victimhood, not just for black people or anything else, but just the entire idea behind the victimhood culture. There is someone with power. There is someone who's aligning against me, makes me the greatest victim because they are in such a great position as related to me. So I am going to make myself a victim of their actions, whether they like it or not. And that seems to be what drives all of this, because if you define yourself, if you define your self-value, if you define your place in the world as being in a struggle, as being a David versus a Goliath to make yourself the hero, you have to have a Goliath. And if there isn't one readily available, you have to manufacture one. Thank you, Zenith. The root is the amazing bulk of news websites. Yeah, that's one way to put it.
No, I remember the first time I actually saw the video of him getting hit by the car, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, it's not even close. He specifically stepped in front of that fucking thing, and he was barely even touched. He was still barely even touched, but oh God, yeah.
And so articles like this, where it's like, okay, not only am I going to align this $1 million football player as being on the same level as one of the most, just legendary anti-slavery advocates of modern history, but also compare that man's struggle to this man's struggle and say that somehow they are aligned and of equal value. Horseshit. Absolute horse. How do we even know Colin Kaepernick's name? How do we even hear anything about what he does, what he says, what his actions do? How is it that the entire NFL practically has taken its cue from his actions to begin with, if he is so oppressed?
Because we're white and we have to keep an eye on him because he's black.
And this just drives the narrative more and more And I mean, really, is the goal to improve race relations?
Of course not.
I remember somebody, I forget who it was. I think it was either Milo or Ben Shapiro, somebody asked the very simple and pertinent question, like in regards to Black Lives Matter. Tell me how Black Lives Matter has improved race relations. If their true purpose is to fight for equality and fair treatment and everything else, okay, what have they done to improve race relations? And same thing can be said for feminist frequency or he for she or anything else. How have these movements of people who claim to be such oppressed, marginalized communities, etc., working towards supposed equality or, doing away with the imbalances in life, how have they affected positive change in those directions? Like, please give me examples. I want to know that they're being productive. When Frederick Douglass was alive, he was a walking contradiction as to the vision and image of a Black man in America at that time. He was an intellectual. He did not bow down to white people simply because they were white. And he was willing to speak his mind at risk of, well, at the time, death in certain places. I mean, Frederick Douglass was a badass. A complete
absolutely.
And total badass.
Kind of like the difference between protesting for women's rights in Saudi Arabia versus doing it here.
Oh, no kidding. Or like those the video I did on the Muslim comics telling Muslim jokes in a comedy club in New York City in front of a sympathetic Muslim audience. And I was like, oh, how brave.
So very brave.
Go to Riyadh and try to do that. Making jokes about Muslims, that's really dangerous, right? Yeah, I was like, yeah. Well, why don't you have some Jewish comics on the stage doing those jokes in front of that Muslim audience? See what happens. You want to talk about being brave or like testing stereotypes? Anyway, it's just
drama cartoon. See how well that goes.
It's just such an epidemic. It doesn't really matter what movement or anything you're talking about. They're all drawing from the same playbook. It just has a different cover depending on what you're looking at. And I know we've asked this before, and I know there's no easy answer to this, but when does this become passé and go away?
It doesn't.
As long as it's profitable to be a victim, then it doesn't.
Yeah, I think this is the downfall of society is basically the GoFundMe page. As long as you can make anyone with a complaint a charity case that people will donate money to and make it look like it's something worthwhile, both by money and press and everything else, it's never going to stop. I'm not trying to be down
for it to stop.
Okay, and I'm brainstorming here more than anything else because I don't have any clear answers. But like I said before, there's nothing new under the sun except the history you don't know. So fundamentally, what's happening now is no different than things that have happened in the past. Black Lives Matter. What is the analogy from the past for that? Just as an example, I could have picked anything, but just that was the first one that came to mind.
Well, there's a reason they call all of this cultural Marxism. It's what it is.
Right.
Go back to the overthrow of the Tsar in Russia. What was it all about? It was about how victimized the common man were, and there were valid complaints there. There really were.
Right.
But to take that and say, oh, we need to throw everything away, it was all done based on how oppressed the people were. That's what Marxism thrives on. It's what most revolution thrives on. Even the American Revolution was based on how oppressed the people were. The king was doing things without consulting us.
Well, yeah, but in both those cases, even though the solutions were ultimately, depending on which one you're talking about, either destructive or productive, they were based on actual oppression taking place.
Sure, but it doesn't need to be anymore.
Right. Okay. So when I'm saying Black Lives Matter, so a movement that was based on belief over fact, like that. Are we? I mean, the immediate thing that comes to mind, of course, is the Black Panthers. Except that back then, you know, before the Civil Rights Act and everything else, there were legitimate complaints, and so that was fueled in part by legitimate concerns, even though it went completely wacko.
Well, the Black Lives Matter has some legitimate concerns. There are some black people who are killed by police unjustly.
Yes.
What the problem here is that you're trying to tie it to something in history where there was an actual oppression going on. And while nothing is new under the sun, I'll agree with you there. We are at a point in history where we have the freest, most secure society ever.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally have people who do not understand what oppression really is. Trey Melvin just made a new set of videos. Do you know Trey Melvin?
No, I don't.
Trey Melvin is the black YouTuber with 3 million followers, I think it is. I can't remember how many million.
Yeah, it's something along those lines, and he's interesting.
I just as a side note, I never stops amazing me how many million subscriber YouTubers I've never heard of before. There's so many out there, gaming YouTubers especially.
Well, Trey is most famous for once saying that a homeless white man has more privilege than he does.
Well, and he said that in like a response video to Jeff Holiday.
Okay.
Yes. He is a millionaire YouTuber.
Oh wait, is this the guy? Is this the guy that was? God, I remember there being a video where like a guy's sitting there with like some really fancy watch and he's complaining about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I do know this. Okay, maybe I have heard of this guy. Okay, go ahead.
So in his newest video, it's all about why white people can't say nigga or nigger. He actually says both. You can't say either.
Okay.
And one of the things he says in there is that it disenfranchises him because he doesn't know what words mean. And then he also says that by using that word, you are devaluing his experience with slavery.
Bitch. What? Bitch, you are a millionaire. Go away. I don't want to fucking hear it.
Every time somebody says that, it devalues that. It takes away from the fact that he still does feel stuff from slavery.
Genetic
even
memory,
though
right?
say he can't.
Yeah, genetic cultural memory means that all black people are slaves today.
He's got a really fucking good memory if he can remember shit that happened before he was born. There's also a really great part in there where he goes through his genealogy, and he tells us that his great grandfather was a white slave owner who has sex with his mom, or his great grandma. They had a biracial baby, and then in another part of this, he tells us that he can't trace his genealogy. Like, what? And then he clarifies it with all the way back to Africa. Like, well, here's a news flash for you. Most people from sub-Saharan Africa can't trace their genealogy because they don't keep records.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Called prehistory, you know? Oh, man.
But yeah, it's a wonderful video. It's one I'm probably going to take a crack at here soon because it's actually a 2-part series.
A 2-part series? Oh, man.
It's 2 parts, yes. In the first part, he goes through all of these things that saying that word devalues, and then in the second one, I forget what the fuck he's talking about, but it's really stupid.
Okay.
But yeah, but see, this is a millionaire who's sitting there bitching because PewDiePie dropped an N-bomb in a video game, and that's so oppressive to him.
Well, so again, maybe it's a thought experiment that doesn't have an answer right now or anything, but I'm always like, what is the predictable life cycle of a movement like this? Like where I mean, like I said, with the SDS, which was the sort of democratic social movement of its day, sort of like if you took the Bernie Bros, let's say, of that time, and then they fractioned off into more and more violent groups like the Weather Underground, which the Antifa hasn't quite gotten to blowing up the Pentagon levels of Weather Underground yet, but if guys are handing out knives and showing them how to like stab people and stuff, it might be on the way. Where does this? Again, thought experiment. I'm just curious. What can we expect next in the evolution from examples of the past?
With the examples of the past, it should have ended already. The shit should have blown over.
Oh, Night Lady Monkey.
Most of these kind of movements, I mean, even like the Weather Underground and them, they didn't have a long lifespan.
No, they didn't. They burned out really quick because they just, but I mean, but they did a lot of damage.
There's a difference in today's world in that these radical nonsense ideas are being pushed in colleges by mainstream Democratic members of Congress. There's a video the other day, also from the Root, where they went to the Black Caucus meeting, and they asked members of the Congressional Black Caucus if Donald Trump is racist, and every one of them that they talked to, absolutely he is. Absolutely he is. And how do you stand up to it? Well, you gotta. The only thing they did say is you got to be nonviolent, but you have to protest, and you basically have to be Black Lives Matter, but without blowing shit up or beating people.
Or shooting cops.
Or shooting cops, yeah. It is such a mainstream idea right now that I don't see it dying out anytime soon. The only way, and I mean that I cannot stress this enough, the only way to beat it back is with free speech and calling the shit out. Yeah. And I just don't see enough people willing to do that on the main. It's one of the reasons Donald Trump was so successful, is because most of America is sitting there going, what the fuck is going on? While the media, the politicians, everybody else is going, women don't get paid enough and Black people are dying in the streets all the time. It's fucking retarded. It does not jive with what is actually going on in the country, but it is being pushed as the mainstream narrative. No other time in history have we seen that happen. Even if you go back to the civil rights movements and you watch what was going on television at the time, the reports of, the water hoses being used and the dogs being turned loose, these weren't presented as, oh, holy shit, look how horrible this is. It was just like, hey guys, look what's happening.
Thank you, Cryptic. Black folks need to ask the tribes in Africa and the Arabs for reparations. Oh man.
It's not something people like to talk about, but
want to talk? Yeah, it's slavery was not slavery was not a white invention. Just so people know, although you'd be surprised at how many people say that otherwise. Guys, it is the bottom of the last hour of the show. That means the next half hour is all for you, chat. So if you have questions for us, comments, insults, complaints, conspiracy theories, whatever you like, throw it into the chat, and we will take a look.
Skeptic, why are you so hung up on reality and truth, Ranting Monkey? Kind of narrow-minded, don't you think? Yeah, kind of is, but
it's very focused on, geez, open your mind. Open up your mind, Monkey. Geez, get that third eye going.
Well, this is why Ben Shapiro's bullshit annoyed me so much, where he was like, oh, I'm fighting the real fight. I'm being the real anti-PC person here. There is no real anti-PC. Either you do it or you don't. Calling this shit out at every level is absolutely imperative to stopping it.
Let's see. Lucky Seven says, in 10 years from now, how do you think we are going to look back, think of Antifa and BLM? I'm more curious to know what active members in those groups today will say of themselves 10 years from now. Because if you ask like ex-hippies, or ex-radicals from back in the 60s and such, what they think of their actions and what they're, those are some of the more interesting insights to have, because somebody's actually gone through it and either evolved out of it or in some way are still in it. So as an observer, I don't even know what I would say, except it was stupid then and it would remain stupid no matter what name you put on it. What a Black Lives Matter member now is going to say 10, 20 years from now with some perspective, especially if they're only like 18 or 19 and haven't actually lived in the world yet. I'm really curious to know what they think of themselves later on down the line. Let's see.
I just don't think the Antifa crowd will care. I think they'll pretty much be the same as they are now. So much has changed, even going back to hippie culture. Even hippies, their parents are like, get the fuck out of my house when they turned 18. we're raising kids that are, and I've done this myself. My one son still lives with me, and it's not a bad thing, but you still have to make your children be productive members of society. And we're in a place now. These fuckers don't have to go out and get a job like hippies eventually did. There's a reason that hippies eventually switched over to be yuppies. They realized how great money is, how great having your own money is. But when you can sit behind a mask and then go home and mommy's going to cook you some mac and cheese, you don't have to ever fucking learn.
Maladjusted One says, can we sing Happy Birthday for Callie?
It's Kali.
Oh, sorry, Kali. I apologize.
Kali, yes.
Kali.
Yep. He had me. Thank you so much for reminding me. He'd asked yesterday, and I said, you have to remind me if you want me to do it.
Okay.
It's Kali.
Kali.
Ready?
Kalima. Kalima. Okay.
Kalima.
Kalima. Happy birthday, to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Kali.
Kalima. Kalima.
Happy birthday
to
you. Happy birthday.
Birthday. Kalima. Kalima. Scotch asks, have we seen Flatliners from the 1990s? What I miss?
Freedom Fighter. My cats just covered their ears.
Have we seen Flatliners? I love Flatliners.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Flatliners was a great flick. It was like when I heard that, because it was directed by Joel Schumacher, and so when I heard like, oh, Joel Schumacher's going to do Batman, I was so disappointed. But Flatliners was really cool. I think, didn't Joel Schumacher, I think he also did Lost Boys, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, yeah, Flatliners was great because it didn't.
I thought it was all right.
I really liked it. I thought it was really creepy and scary. Kevin Bacon. I mean, it's one of the few movies where you have like Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, one of the Baldwin brothers in there. They're all in there. And one of the things I really liked was they had some really abstract stuff, and they didn't explain it all. They didn't grab you by the nose and say, "Oh, this is how this works," because like they were supposed to be seeing ghosts or something.
Yeah.
Except that Kevin Bacon's ghost was actually someone who was still alive. It was guilt. It was his guilt over something, and was represented by a little girl he made fun of in school, who was still living. It wasn't like a ghost, but yet everybody else was dealing with like a father who'd committed suicide or stuff like that. So I like that movie, and they're doing they got a sequel now, which apparently sucks ass because why wouldn't it?
I will be right back. I forgot to pee before the stream.
Yeah, G. Bronard says there's a new Flatliners, right? Yes, it is I guess it's a sequel, but I'm not interested in seeing it because I'm pretty sure they'll just make it fucked up.
I guess I got back just in time then.
Oh, why, you want to see Flatliners?
No, I forgot to pee too.
Oh, jeez. So, everybody, your bladders are telling you things.
Why doesn't SDA join in the birthday singing? Oh, did you guys do a birthday while I was gone?
Yeah, we Kali had a birthday.
I don't do it because it's special when I do it.
It's it's just,
you have to be like Lady Monkey.
Oh, I see. So it's just pedestrian when it's just Monkey and I see.
Get SDA to sing.
Robert Lang asks, have I watched Blake 7 yet? I have not. I've forgotten to. It doesn't occur to me to watch Blake 7. Tweet me an episode. That'll remind me.
Although I did sing yesterday because you weren't there and Monkey made me.
I apologize that you had to go.
You should be. I was awful.
Let's see. Your boy Pat says Flatliners remake is going to suck. Yeah, I saw an interview with what's her name? The Ellen Page. Ellen Page. She's in that movie. And when they started talking about it, when they weren't talking about feminism. Or whatever she was talking about, or gay rights and all that kind of stuff. She sounded so enthusiastic about her own project. I was just like, whatever. Is Scribe the only one who remembers to pee first? Apparently so. I do that.
Yeah, basically.
I did that. I did that before it became a thing. Let's see. Yeah, I already heard some early reviews of the Flatliners thing, and yeah, it's going to be bad. It's just because they don't know what they're doing. Oh, good night, irate prostate. Good night.
About this remembering to pee thing. Remember, guys, I have no memory anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not my fault.
I have no excuse. I just forget.
A ranting monkey inscribed. Have you seen the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman? Is the sky?
Nobody ever asks me those questions.
Well, there might be a reason.
To ask you about movies.
Yeah, you said not to do it. Don't ask me because I don't know. I'm like, okay. Of course, I've seen Seven. I mean, it's like one of those must-see movies. Actually, it's probably one of those that we should probably do on a Sunday sometime, maybe.
Oh yeah, it's
as we lead up to, should we make Halloween like horror thriller month or something?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Okay. And I got my copy of Unforgiven, so I'm ready for this weekend.
Cool.
It also came along with a copy of Mystic River and Flags of Our Fathers and $1 Million Baby.
Are you going to be involved in Taled's stream?
Indeed I am. I set aside the Sunday morning to be present and accounted for.
Okay.
So we will. So obviously, because it's Sunday, his thing starts at 11. So I'm going to see if I can be part of the first round of people that come on to say hi.
Yeah.
So that I'll be available by noon my time to do that. So yeah.
You said 11. I went, no, it's 2, and then I remembered we're different coasts.
Yes, yeah, it's 11 where I am. 11 where I am. Let's see. Some Dumb American. Have you ever watched Gleaming the Cube?
No.
Says. Let's see. Now Bloodwing's going to be in Tailed stream. Cool.
Oh yeah, guys. For the record, Tailed stream is his 1-year anniversary. So
yes, Sunday at. Well, it's 11 p.m. Sorry, 11 p.m. 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and like 8 p.m. British time or something.
Yeah,
something like that. Anyway, look it up. But yeah, he's going to have just a plethora of rotating guests and things on that stream. And congratulations to him for hitting the year.
SDA, Scribelight, and Ranting Monkey. Have you seen Rudy? Oh God.
Yes, long time ago.
Yeah, I guess maybe asking me about movies is a little pointless.
Yeah, Samwise Does Football. That's basically what it's called.
I'm not a big fan of that actor anyway. What the fuck is his name?
Sean Astin.
Yeah, Sean Astin. But in that movie, I wanted to punch him in the face.
Now, Sean Astin has a special place in my heart because of Goonies, and he always will. And he's the son of John Astin, who was Gomez Adams. So he comes from a line that I have a certain amount of respect for. Rudy as a movie, not one that I go out of my way to watch. So
the last movie I liked him in was Goonies.
Well, he's going to be in the new season of Stranger Things, so get ready. Donald the Repentless, hi all, your choice. Okay, Donald, you guys got any ideas? FDA got the last one, so what about you, Monkey? We have a bookcase for one.
No, nothing comes to mind.
Oh, I got it.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Cardboard box.
Cardboard. All right.
What?
No. That's that.
I'm helpful. God damn it.
I was laughing because ideas are. This is what is both the blessing and the curse of my imagination. Ridiculous and good ideas come at me at the same time whenever like something like that happens, and so I just laugh at myself and just how nutso I am. So,
okay.
Donald the Repentless's cardboard box. I will work on that one too. Let's see. Seen District 9. I did see District 9. I didn't like District 9. It made no friggin' sense.
I have not, obviously.
It couldn't decide whether it was a faux documentary. It set up a situation of apartheid in the last place on the planet where apartheid should be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. And the characters at the beginning in the pseudo-documentary were talking about events that by the end of the film, we learned they could not possibly have any knowledge of. It was bad. I mean, everybody praises the special effects. It's like, oh, District 9. Like, no, it wasn't that great. Let's see. Lucky 7 says, what was the most darkly funny thing you have seen in a movie?
Oh.
Thank you, Snubberth. Cardboard box, SDA closeted Metal Gear fan confirmed. Yeah. Darkly.
What's Metal Gear?
Oh.
Oh, isn't it a video game? It's a video game, right?
It's a video game. Well
okay.
done.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
Yeah, and part of the joke of it is that when the guy does stealth, he hides under a cardboard box and walks around.
Okay. Did
Dark,
I sort of maybe a little bit redeem myself?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Darkly humorous thing. Just about anything in the movie, Very Bad Things. If you've never seen Very Bad Things, you should see it at least once. But you want to talk about like dark humor, that whole movie is it.
Dark humor.
Or American Psycho.
Any Wayans movie?
Yeah, there you go. Ranting Monkey from Your Boy Pat. What do you think about Sophie Hagen crappy tweets, then playing the victim afterwards? I don't know who Sophie Hagen is. That's probably my problem. Robert Lang says SDA had another meatloaf moment. No, that doesn't. No, the meatloaf moment is a
no, because I figured it out really quickly because my head immediately went to Gears of War, and then I was like, wait, no, that's wrong. And so then I was like, what is it? And then I was like, it's a video game. The meatloaf thing was like, I had to be told after I had said I wouldn't like basically suck his dick if you knew what I was talking about. So. I mean, nothing. I'm super careful about stuff now too, especially when I know they're making a reference to something that I don't know. I'm like scarred by the meatloaf incident. So
Sophie Hagen.
Yeah,
she's the bitch who gave us the we need fat Disney princesses.
Oh, okay. So what happened with her?
Well, the other day she made a what was her tweet on Hugh Hefner? Hugh Hefner dying reminds us that old white men in power eventually die. She put together a block of her tweets, which are all in that same manner. They're made to piss people off and get her negative attention. And she put together this block of tweets to say, and she tweeted with these that a male friend of hers complained that he got mean tweets on Twitter. And so she sent him this and said, what do you think of that? Like, well, if you're acting like a cunt, then don't be mad when you're treated like a cunt.
Like, you are, one, verified, and two, tweet out mean things all the time, and people are like, fuck you, back. And she's like, oh,
no. Nope says, I don't know the meatloaf thing, ? Okay, well, then now we have a very easy reference. Go to my channel. Go back about 5 videos or something and look for Lords of the Night promo #1. That has the bulk of the meatloaf incident right there for your viewing pleasure. In fact, if you like that promo, share it with your friends because it is an advertisement. Also executive produced by Jonathan Malone, who donated for the creation of those. It's in similar sense to what Snubberth has done tonight for some more complex trailer ads that I will start working on in the near future. Let's see. Freedom Fighter says, I wonder if Hef got 72 sluts in the afterlife. Oh, God. He's got more than that. More than that. Let's see. Some Dumb American, tell us when you stream Final Fantasy 14 with Satsu so we can call you a noob. Oh, Lord. Pat says she can dish it out, but she can't take it. Yeah, well, that's... Cody Fry asks us all, what are your opinions on MMOs? They could be a money sink?
I love the ones that I've played. I think they're all just a little too similar, in my opinion.
I really liked the Old Republic up until I got through all the class stories, and then they unified the stories, and then there was no variance anymore, and it just became boring. It was like there's nothing to do, and even like the group stuff, they dumbed it down so much it became a theme park and not a game of skill or anything else. I remember in the olden days when I first started playing WoW for like the 3 or 4 months that I tried it. You know, there were guys there that it was a science. It's the same we were talking about the other day about games that actually challenged you to use skill to beat and not just something where you point and click. The difference. The difference between TIE Fighter versus the new Battlefront in flying a TIE Fighter, you know, it actually meant something, that the game was hard and it was specialized for people with a niche. MMOs, and of course, I'm sure there are MMOs that still do this, like EVE Online, all that crap. But MMOs that actually require you to think and actually, if you succeed at something, it's because you actually succeeded at something. You didn't just click a button a couple of times and ta-da, you get a prize. So
that was one of the problems with WoW. When WoW started out, it was already a much more user-friendly video game than EverQuest was. EverQuest was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
But when WoW started out, it still wasn't quite user-friendly, and they tweaked it quite a bit. And by Wrath of the Lich King, it was about as perfect as it could get. And from there, they made the mistake of listening to their audience. And I know that sounds counterproductive. You know, customers always right. Not necessarily. WoW got to the point where it was basically point and click. You don't even have to try anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge mistake that too many MMOs make.
Yeah, Donald Penless says he used to play the Old Republic and right? Yeah, I mean, I ran a guild. I did everything. I played through the class stories, the really good ones, more than once. I tried every sort of combination and play style and all that stuff, and I loved it because it was Star Wars. You know, the IP just kept me going. But after a while, it's like I've done everything. Every time they release an expansion, it takes me about 10 minutes to run through because there's no depth to it. There's no challenge. I mean, yeah, it's all voice acted. Sure, the story's okay, but it doesn't make me feel like I accomplished anything. It doesn't make me feel like I'm actually winning. It just makes me feel like I'm passively watching a movie, you know? Yeah, so anyway.
When I played my first character on WoW, it was a hunter, and I had a lot of fun with him. And then I switched to other players, and I actually learned how to play the game very well. And I went back to my hunter, and I looked at the build and his gear, and I was like, what fucking noob was playing this guy? It was so bad.
Yeah.
WoW used to make it, I mean, you could actually fail. You could build a character that made no goddamn sense, and they changed it to where it's like, no, everybody's good. Everybody's good now.
Yeah.
And no, I miss the ability to fail.
That is something that games need to take into account. There has to be a fail state, not just a stub your toe state.
Yeah.
A fail state. Like, okay, like with WoW, I remember when, like, if you died, you had to find your body again from a zillion miles away. You know, if you died in the wrong spot, you had to go as a ghost to try to find your body again. There was no instant resurrection or anything else unless you like had some crazy powers or bought some, you know, whatever the little tokens or whatever they were. But you actually had, it's like, so if you died, it wasn't like you just resurrect and keep fighting. No, you would basically reset the whole thing and you were dead meat. That gave you an incentive to like really want to get it done right the first time. And if you failed, you just had to try again. But with like the Old Republic and so many other things, it's kind of like, okay, I die, I click a button, and I'm right there again. I resurrect immediately. Ta-da.
Well, I don't know if you ever played EverQuest. EverQuest was even worse because if you died, not only do you have to go find your body, people could take your shit.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, there was a risk. There has to be a risk reward. There has to be a fail state, and a lot of MMOs don't, because they don't want to turn. They think that by doing that, they're going to turn off their players from replayability. I tell you what, if you make a game challenging, if you make it rewarding, if you make the people who actually can get through stuff, you know, feel like they earned it, you'll retain an audience longer than otherwise. That's, I think so anyway.
Well, one of the dumbest things WoW ever did, and this was actually their stated goal, they cut it down so you could only run a raid once a week, where you used to be able to run both 10-man and 25-man before they cut those down. But they actually stated that the reason they wanted to do that was because people were spending too much time on the game. Like, you do realize
that's the point, isn't it?
You do realize what the point of this is, right?
Let's see. The Jack Cochran asks, are all of Black Bolt's bodily functions affected by his power or just his voice? Like, do they have to evacuate when he farts? No one wants to answer this question. Black Bolt's powers originate from his vocal cords. So it's just his voice.
But what if he burps?
Yeah, no, if he makes any sound with his vocal cords, it will like a whisper will blow up a building kind of thing. Like he cannot speak if he does. Yeah. So yeah, but it's literally in his voice. It's about his vocal cords. It's about his voice. So yeah.
So he can fart.
Emanates from his body. Yeah. So just imagine if he sneezes. Just imagine if he has to cough or something. It's like that's why they put him on the moon, so he couldn't really blow anything up. Harvest Marvo says, Scribelight, do any of you have a favorite live action puppets, practical effects, for example, TV series and or movie?
About puppets?
Well, let's see. So Fraggle Rock probably is one. Even though there were computer effects in it, Captain Power was awesome. And just for the technical aspects of it, well, The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, as far as a movie with practical effects, you can't get much more quality than John Carpenter's The Thing when it comes to practically, save for the one unnecessary stop motion bit at the very end, which they shouldn't have done, but they did. And Tremors. Tremors was great for practical effects. Though it too has one really... Team America World Police, yeah. Or I mean, the old Thunderbirds TV show, if you're really into that kind of stuff, which was, well, that came from. Yeah, Tremors too, except, again, just like The Thing, it had one bit of really bad green screen deal, and yeah, that was weird. But otherwise, that entire movie is practically perfect. We got 4 minutes left, guys. So now's the basically last call. BG's thoughts on...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, BG says, thoughts on Farscape. I tried getting into it. Couldn't really. I know a lot of people are really big fans of it, sort of Firefly-esque fans, and good for them. I never quite glommed onto it.
Circuit Zero wants to know what I mained in WoW. For a long time, it was my rogue, and then my druid as a healer, and then my druid as a bear.
Snubberth says, SDA is a huge Teddy of Queer Kids Stuff fan. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, Teddy. Gosh,
that bear needs washed.
Why do I?
Oh, you're a big fan of Teddy from Queer Kids Stuff.
Yeah, I know, but like, since when? I didn't know this.
Oh, well, apparently since forever.
I don't mean to call somebody a liar, but.
Let's see. From Maladjusted One, do you watch / like ARGs like Marble Hornets? No, I don't. As far as I know, I've never really either gotten into or had any interactions with ARGs. So
I know, no.
Yeah, alternate reality games. I know of them. I've heard stories about them. I've never participated or, reality is enough of an alternate reality game for me most days. 2-minute warning, guys, which basically means 1 minute warning because by then it'll be closing time. Teddy is always being fisted, says Freedom Fighter. Well, Queer Kids Stuff. Teddy Ruxpin, yeah. Teddy Ruxpin. That was a creepy toy.
It really was.
I love putting tapes of like MC Hammer or Metallica in that thing and then just letting it rip because that was always fun too. Okay, we're going to call it there, guys. So everybody in the chat, thank you so much for coming out tonight as you do all nights. Really appreciate it. We're always more than humbled by your loyalty and your enthusiasm. Thank you to everyone who donated. I will get to working on those ads for tomorrow night's YouTube time. And Snubberth, I will look for you on Twitter so we can confabulate a bit on what you're looking for. I think I have a couple ideas already, but I want to run them by you real quick. Tomorrow night, we are on Monkey's channel. And SDA may have a book club with Bay tomorrow. Maybe?
We have a book club with Bay tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Sydney time on Bay's channel.
Okay. Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Tailed's channel is his 1-year anniversary stream that'll have guests galore. So go over there and get ready for that. And then at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, Monkey and I will be doing a review of Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood on my channel. So I think that's all the promo stuff. Guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Monkey, SDA, as always, thank you for joining me. Everyone, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.